Alright, let's kick off this lizard party with John Kerry. John Kerry is a US politician. He's a Democrat. It's about all I know or care about. I don't pay attention to politics, alright? I'm too busy covering the important issues. Guys, ghosts, Mothman, today it's lizard people. I'm basically a real-life Fox Mulder, and I'm pretty good at what I do. But you know what's not awesome? The cabal of lizard people trying to infiltrate our entire society. In this video from back in 2013, we see Kerry speaking with Congress, but try to see if you can spot something strange going on. Yeah, he keeps licking his lips. He does it over and over again. Now, maybe he had some ice cream residue on his lip, or his tongue was itchy, and he was like itching his tongue by doing that or something. Maybe he was having a hard time keeping his true lizard form at bay, though. Look at how fast his tongue moves, too. It's not a sultry lip lick. You wouldn't be looking at someone across the club and like lick your lips like this. Nor should you do that ever, probably. But this is like a fast, like, I have fly to catch kind of tongue flick, so I don't know. Is he a lizard man? Obviously, yes. Number 9, Justin Bieber. Politicians and famous people seem to be the main culprits when it comes to these elusive, shape-shifting lizards. Makes sense. I mean, like, what better way to overturn society than by seeping your way into politics and pop culture, the circles that hold the most influence over society. Not the case for me, though. I don't pay attention to music. I'm too busy uncovering the real stuff. Cryptids. Ghosts. You know the drill. I'm not going to repeat myself over and over again. In this video, we watch as Justin Bieber's eyes seem to act up. Like, just take a look. So his eyes look normal, then he blinks, then when he opens his eyes back up, it looks like they're partially covered. A bit like certain lizard species who have the semi-translucent caps that cover their eyes, right? And it looks like Bieber just dropped the ball here. His lizard eyes loose. They just let loose momentarily, and he thought nobody would notice, but we did. And now the secret is out. Back to your dank, dark underground dwelling, Beaver. Next on the list is Nicki Minaj, another pop singer with secret ties to the land of the lizards. Now this happens very fast, so pay close attention. Put your portable telephone down, full screen me, lean in, and feast your eyes on this weirdness. Seems like Nicki Minaj was in the middle of an interview when suddenly her circular, human-looking pupil transforms into a vertical slit, just for a brief moment. Pretty freaky stuff. If I'd been doing this interview and I saw that happen, I'd have a couple follow-up questions. I'd play it smart, though. I wouldn't want the lizards getting a whiff of how onto them I really am. Like, I wouldn't come right out and ask if she's a lizard person, but like, hey, are your eyes okay? Looks like they morphed. But I definitely don't think you're a lizard person at all, though. I think that would be a smooth way of kind of broaching that subject and getting one step closer to the truth. Yeah, don't you? Anyway, it looks like Anaconda might be more of a personal song to her than we initially thought. Number 7, we have a reptilian standing behind a man being interviewed. This interview was taken at a sporting event of some kind. I have a feeling it's a baseball match, but I'm not sure. Do I watch sports? What do you think? Once again, guys, my expertise is in uncovering the truth within the world of the strange and bizarre. I don't have time to watch people throw, kick, punt, hit balls into baskets. So this man is being interviewed about something I don't care about when suddenly we catch a glimpse of the man standing behind him. Man may be a bit of a stretch here. Lizard man? Far more likely. Just look at his eye. I've never seen a pupil like that in my entire life. It looks like it almost has a bit of a diamond kind of shape to it. Doesn't seem like a trick of the light or a glitch in the footage, as this isn't one of those cases like with Nicki Minaj or Justin Bieber where it just happens briefly. It just seems like this is the way this man's eye is. It's kind of cool, but I don't know. Can I trust someone with eyes, the eyes of a lizard? I don't think so. Next on the list, we have an alien security guard. All right, we're back to the world of politics now. This footage was taken at some kind of political event. Suffice to say, there were some high-ups in the audience. Now we see a bunch of average-looking dudes and one lady seated in the foreground. At first, you'd probably look at this image and think nothing of it, but take a look at the weirdo in the background. Whatever this thing is, it does not look human. And no, it's not just that he's bald. Nothing wrong with being bald, all right? I think it's just his lack of ears that gives me a bit of the willies. Look at him, it looks like he just has a hole where his ears should be. Now, if he suffered some kind of horrific incident or something like that, I'm very sorry. And you are not a reptile, sir. But I don't know, he looks very snake-like to me. Actually, this dude, he's a dead ringer for Voldemort from the hit British book and film series Harry Potter. Don't know if you've ever checked it out. It's kind of uncanny though, actually. Number 5, the skin suit. In this clip shared on TikTok by aliens_and_cryptids, we see a man in an interview, possibly a news reporter, although I'm not 100% certain. Seems to be a normal, everyday dude, but suddenly something weird happens to his face. Yeah, what the heck happened there? It's not even just his eyes that bug out and reveal some reptilian version underneath. His face also seems to contort a bit, almost like rubber. Is this actually a lizard person wearing a skin suit that malfunctioned? Well, it certainly looks like it to me, and I may not know my sports or music or politics, but I do know about my aliens, my ghosts and ghouls, and my lizard people. Not my lizard, I'm not a lizard person myself, but this guy is very likely a lizard in disguise. There's just no denying it, really. Number 4, Sharkman. Now, I've talked a lot about lizard people on this list so far. In fact, that's been every point up until now. So what about the creatures that have come from deep within the darkest depths of the ocean to seep their way into the inner workings of our societal structure, the fish people? In this clip, we see Barack Obama greeting Lee Rosenberg. Who is Lee Rosenberg, you ask? He's a Sharkman. Looking closely at this clip, you can see that when Rosenberg smiles, his true shark form slightly rises to the surface, displaying a set of razor-sharp shark chompers. I can almost hear the unnerving soundtrack to Jaws playing in my head as Obama walks to the podium to greet this underwater fiend. The question is Barack truly chums with what he knows to be a Sharkman, or is he just chum? Next on the list, we have a clip from Dr. Phil. Now, I'm not saying that Dr. Phil is a reptilian. I mean, he could be, but there's no evidence of that. So it's the guest I'm putting in the hot seat here. So just take a look at this woman's eyes. Do these look like your standard circular pupils to you? No, looks like we have the classic vertical slits going on here. Very unsettling stuff. I think Dr. Phil needs to switch gears and talk about the stuff that really matters. You know, he should be having people suspected of being reptilians on his show all the time from now on and just ask them the important questions. Let me get this straight. You tell me you're not a reptilian? I think you need to zip your lip. It'd be so fun to watch. I want that show on TV. Next up, we have a reporter shape-shifting on live TV. Now, a lot of this list has been eye stuff, so let's talk about another big telltale sign that someone is a shapeshifter. Their skin, the fake disguise they're wearing to conceal their disgusting, monstrous lizard form underneath. This is Michael Brownlee, a reporter who seems to morph on live TV a little too often. We watch as his face begins to distort, almost like a scaly type of pattern begins to form on his face. In one clip, he even seems to move out of frame, and almost like he's in a slight panic, seemingly feeling his human disguise begin to slip away. If I were a reptilian, which I'm definitely not, once again, I would have this guy come back down to the underground lizard society below and just practice staying in his human form a bit better. Like, stop transforming on live television, Mike. Ruining it for all of us. Just hold it together, bud. And finally, we have the Antiques Roadshow Reptilian. Anyone ever watched Antiques Roadshow? My grandparents used to watch it. I heard it's a good show to fall asleep to. There just aren't enough demons and aliens in it for me, you know? Oh, but wait. Apparently there was in this episode. In this video, originally uploaded by follower of Yahushua, she spotted an odd-looking man in the background of one shot. He clearly has some very strange eyes and is just staring almost directly into the camera. He does seem to be very intrigued by whatever antique they're looking at, though. He's like, kind of like, what's that? Maybe this reptilian just wanted to like do some antique shopping that day, find a set of old spoons or something, or this lizard man was on a mission to find an important relic, something they could use to bring about the downfall of the human race. First, we have Theodore Edward Coneys. We hear a lot of contemporary stories of folks hiding in people's homes, but this incident happened way back in 1941. This is the case of Theodore Coneys, who secretly inhabited a man's attic before finally committing a horrifying crime. Coneys, a vagrant and drifter, sought refuge in the home of Philip Peters, an unsuspecting Denver resident, concealing himself within the confines of Peter's attic. Coneys led a precarious existence, surviving by scavenging food from the kitchen and sneaking out at night while Peters slept. However, what began as this eerie invasion of privacy soon escalated to a pretty big tragedy. Driven by desperation and fear of discovery, Coney's mental state began to deteriorate, and convinced that Peters had become aware of his presence, Coney's hatched a chilling plan to eliminate threat. On a fateful day in March of 1941, he descended from the attic and confronted Peters in his own home by the kitchen. Overpowered by a surge of primal aggression, Coney's viciously attacked Peters, ultimately taking his life in a brutal act. Alright, next off we have the ex. Ever have that ex-partner who just won't seem to go away? Well, this case took things to a whole new level when Tracy from South Carolina actually found her ex-boyfriend living in her attic 12 years after they had broken up. She had seen nails popping out of her attic and heard noises. At first she thought there was a poltergeist in her attic, and I'm guessing when she found out the truth, she probably wished it were a paranormal entity rather than her ex-boyfriend from over a decade ago. Yikes. Her sons and nephew found the man in the back of the attic, and he booked it out of there before the police arrived. Now, what makes this extra creepy is that the guy had been doing his business up there. There were a bunch of large cups from the fast food restaurant Sonic, all filled with that yellow and brown stuff that comes out of all of our bodies. Surprised, nobody noticed that the second floor of their home must have started smelling like a public bathroom. To make matters even worse, this heartbroken ex-lover also rigged the ceiling vents above Tracy's room in order to spy on her. Nothing screams romantic like spying on your ex while taking a poop in their ceiling. Number 8, we have the scammer. Catherine Lang, a 75-year-old resident of Beaufort, South Carolina, had an unsuspected encounter when she visited her newly purchased home. To her astonishment, she discovered a 22-year-old Tigra Shepherd inside the house. What a name, love that name. Accompanied by a friend and her pets. Lang had bought the property back in October of the previous year, but had yet to move in. Her intention that day was to check the pipes after returning from vacation. It turned out that Shepherd had been under the impression that she was legally renting the house. She had recently signed what she believed to be a legitimate lease, which was sent to her by an unnamed woman who claimed to be a realtor on Facebook. Shepherd had sent her $1,150 as her first month's rent and deposit. The scammer had assured her that she would receive the keys eventually, but suggested that she could access the house through the back door to begin moving in. Upon discovering each other, both Lang and Shepherd contacted the police to report the incident. Now, look, the girl who got scammed, Tigra Shepherd, certainly not evil, right? But the scammer, shame on her, whoever she is. Also, never mess with someone named Tigra. She'll call the Thundercats on you. Miguel Lua. Back in December 2010, an anonymous woman residing in Modesto, California began experiencing a series of bizarre events within her own home. Growing increasingly concerned, she strongly suspected that her ex-boyfriend, a 27-year-old man named Miguel Lua, was somehow involved. Fueled by suspicion, she believed that Lua had unlawfully entered her residence. One fateful night, as the woman plugged in her cell phone to charge it overnight, she later discovered it had vanished. Disturbed by this occurrence, she promptly contacted the authorities, and they initiated a thorough search of her house. To their surprise, the investigation led them to the attic, where they stumbled upon Lua, cunningly concealed beneath layers of insulation. It seemed he'd been lurking there for quite some time, spying on his ex-girlfriend. The missing cell phone, as it turned out, had been taken by... It was Lua. He took it. Shocker. In an attempt to monitor her communications and verify if she was in contact with other dudes. Consequently, Lua's actions led to his arrest, revealing that this wasn't the first offense of trespassing into an ex-girlfriend's home without consent. In fact, just a few months prior, in July of 2010, he had been apprehended for a similar crime involving another former partner who had previously obtained 2 restraining orders against him. It's scary to imagine what he would have done if he found something he didn't like on that phone. Number 6, the Attic Man. Back in 2008, the Ferentz family in Pennsylvania began experiencing peculiar occurrences in their house just days before Christmas. Initially, Stacy Ferentz attributed the strange sounds to their cats or one of her 3 children. However, on Christmas Day, their suspicions grew and several items went missing on 2 separate occasions. Once in the afternoon and then again in the evening. It became evident that someone had broken into their home, twice targeting their Christmas presents. But it wasn't the Grinch. Concerned, the family promptly contacted the police to report the incidents. Following day, an intriguing discovery unfolded as footprints were found in one of the bedroom closets leading up to the attic. Authorities were alerted and they arrived with a police dog. Together, ventured into the attic where they stumbled upon a 21-year-old Stanley Carter. To everyone's surprise, Carter was wearing Stacy's sweatshirt and sneakers along with her daughter's pants. Not sure how he fit into those, but as the story unfolded, it was revealed that Carter had been staying with neighbors which shared an attic space with the Ferentz family's home. At number 5, we have John M. Dubus. This is a stalker story, and not the only one that's going to show up on this list, as we've seen. I guess the 2 ex-lovers are kind of stalkerish. Anyway, John M. Dubus was a pretty persistent stalker of Jennifer Lopez. Due to his history of stalking her, Lopez had already obtained an order of protection against the 49-year-old man. However, this did not deter Dubus from breaking into the pool house of Lopez's luxurious mansion located in Southampton, New York. On August 8th, 2013, the staff of the house made a startling discovery when they found Dubus on the property. The police were contacted and it was revealed that Dubus had managed to reside within the pool house for an entire week without being noticed. That's tenacity. Despite the presence of those, security measures. To make matters even more insane, Dubus had taken pictures all around the property and posted them on Facebook, showcasing, his unwelcome presence. Posted all kinds of crazy stuff. He shared receipts that showed he was in J-Lo's area. He took selfies, wrote that he was married to her. He's just living this whole fantasy life for a week, minus Lopez actually being there. Thankfully, she was not present at the time. Dubus faced multiple charges, including burglary, criminal contempt, and stalking as a consequence of his actions. Alright, in Yelm, Washington, a 73-year-old woman named Velma Kellen found herself puzzled by the unusual occurrences happening around her home. She would often discover her back gate open. She noticed a peculiar smell that resembled cigarette smoke but had a strange quality to it. As winter arrived, Kellen started noticing problems with the heating and called in a repairman to inspect the ventilation system. During the repairman's investigation beneath the house, everything quickly snapped into place. Discovered that someone had been squatting in the crawl space. Not like exercise and squatting, but they had been, living down there. And they'd been utilizing the ventilation system for warmth. This unknown individual had tampered with the vent by cutting it. Inside the crawl space, there were alcohol bottles, and though the exact duration of the squatting situation remains uncertain, it's suspected that the person or persons have been living there for about a year. Under the bed. Late on Wednesday night, a Seattle couple arrived at their apartment only to be confronted with a scene of utter chaos. Lotion was smeared all over the doorknobs, a can of paint had been poured into the toilet, junk mail was torn open, and the soles of numerous pairs of shoes had been removed. The couple immediately contacted the police. Strangely enough, nothing appeared to have been stolen though, leaving the couple puzzled and even considering the possibility of something supernatural having occurred. The officers were pretty perplexed, but left after a 45-minute investigation. Later, Brian shifted the bed slightly to retrieve a bracelet from the floor when he suddenly heard an unsettling noise emanating from beneath the mattress, a growling sound. The couple ran out of their home and contacted the police once again. Officers re-entered the house and came back out accompanied by a disheveled, wide-eyed woman. How they did not check under the bed in that 45-minute investigation makes no sense to me. Anyway, they got her. The O'Neills continued to assess the aftermath, making even more disturbing discoveries though. They found a hypodermic needle concealed within their bed sheets and locks of the woman's hair scattered throughout the house. And finally, a knife was discovered beneath the bed, a tool she had apparently used in an attempt to dismantle the box springs. At number 2, we have the stalker. Carlo Castanelos Feria and Michelle Fredenberg Onion crossed paths while working together at a hospital in Washington, Washington, D.C. Carlo, a valet, developed an unhealthy obsession with Michelle. This obsession eventually led him down a dark path of stalking. At one point, he managed to swipe her keys and make copies of them before returning them unnoticed. Then he entered Michelle's residence and planted a camera on a desk in her bedroom. When she and her boyfriend would arrive at the apartment, Carlo would hide beneath the bed. This alarming charade continued for 2 whole days until the boyfriend eventually discovered him. Upon apprehension, it was revealed that Carlo had stashed various items under the bed, including condoms, latex gloves, a change of clothes, and a power cord. He was then arrested, and a search of his home uncovered even more disturbing stuff. Among the findings were 6 framed pictures of Michelle, an additional stack of unframed ones, and a video taken from her previous wedding. And coming in at number 1, we have the case of Daniel LaPlante. Following a brief dating period with Tina Bowen, 16-year-old Daniel LaPlante gained unauthorized entry into the Bowen home, initiating a series of terrifying events. From a narrow crawl space, he tormented the family by impersonating a ghost of their deceased mother, changed TV channels, he rearranged items, left disturbing messages on the walls. The situation escalated when he pinned a family photograph to the wall with a knife. On December 8th, 1986, the girls returned home to discover someone had used their toilet, prompting Frank Bowen, the father, to search the house. He found LaPlante dressed in a Native American-style jacket and ninja mask, armed with a hatchet, and forced the family into a bedroom. Tina Bowen managed to escape through a window and alert the police, and 2 days later, LaPlante was discovered hiding in a triangular space in the cellar where he had been living for weeks. And we're gonna kick off this list with what I'm just gonna call the zombie. Reddit user Love is a Love an Axe uploaded this image a couple years back, and it's pretty haunting. They wrote, "My uncle has a trail cam at my old grandparents' house, which are both dead, and the house is abandoned. The camera takes 3 pics every time a motion is detected. This thing only appears in 1 out of 3 of the photos." They also elaborated in a comment down below saying, "For more info for anyone wondering, my uncle was up there and left. The trail cam caught him leaving in his car completely. The trail cam takes pictures so fast it looks like stop motion if looked through quickly, and this thing walks up 6 minutes after he left. It's only in a few pics, and the time says the thing was only on screen for 1 second. And the next picture, it's just gone. Never walked out of frame, just went away." And you know what, if all that's true, then this is pretty freaky. Whatever this figure is does not appear to be normal. Its limbs seem all messed up, its clothes look all ragged. It looks like an undead corpse roaming around in the middle of the night. Number 9, the large creature. This next image was posted to Reddit by user Adjacent Gunman and shows something. It's hard to make out what's going on here, but the user said it was taken on a trail cam on his property and looks to be a very tall creature of some sort holding a coyote by the throat. This second image is a bit more brightened, and you can definitely see the thing's eyes pop out a bit more, but it still blends in with the darkness. You don't get a sense of what its body looks like at all. So if it is a Sasquatch of some kind, it has some pretty dark fur. Some commenters said it could be a hunter on his property, but the uploader said it's not possible, or at least highly unlikely, as the placement of the eyes beside his cabin would make whatever this thing is about 8 feet tall. Now, looking at the coyote's limbs, they look very angular, almost photoshopped perhaps, or maybe whatever the creature holding it is, like it's maybe blocking part of its body. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Let us know in the comments what you think. This footage was uploaded to the YouTube channel Jimmy B Trail Cams and shows what looks to be a large, hairy creature walking across the screen through the trees. Jimmy B uploads all kinds of trail cam videos in Birch Bay, Washington. There are videos of foxes, wolves, hawks, owls, and this. And that's kind of what sells it for me. Like, this isn't someone who just seems to be a Bigfoot enthusiast. He just seems to have a passion for wildlife of all kinds. Probably wasn't even trying to capture something mysterious like this, but just happened to. And the footage is not super clear, but for a Bigfoot video, you do see quite a bit. The bar is not very high for Bigfoot videos. You see that the creature moves with this classic Bigfoot gait. Its arms hang by its sides. It seems to have like a pretty long strides. He posted an update after uploading this footage saying 4 of his 8 trail cameras were missing the day after this footage was taken. So that's mysterious. Number 7, the skunk ape. Just recently, this image captured on a Florida game cam was shared online. The image was taken in Ocala National Park in a hunter's food plot and shows some kind of ape-like creature. Definitely ain't a deer. And I gotta say, if someone is just in a costume here, good job. It looks pretty convincing. I don't look at this image and go, oh, that's a gorilla costume. The fur just looks too, for lack of a better word, real. And the face looks like an actual animal. The dude who shared the image said, looks almost like it's holding a baby with its fingers on the mother's nose. I can kind of see that, but what do you all think? Let us know in the comments once again. At our number 6 spot, we have what I like to call too many deer. Now, this image certainly isn't as ominous as some of the others on this list, and I am quite fond of deer. They're majestic, they're beautiful and elegant animals, but there's something a little unsettling about this image. Like, there's just too many goddamn deer in this forest. It looks like a deer army. It's reminding me of Saruman's Uruk-hai, like swarming the forest to capture Frodo here. Right? Isn't everyone else thinking that? Looking at this picture? Everywhere you look, there's another deer. They just go on for miles, it looks like. I guess too much of anything, though, is kinda icky, right? Like, take cats, for example. Adorable on their own, but like only to a point. Too many, and things get a little uncomfortable. The stereotypical crazy cat lady, it's a thing for a reason. I also think the fact that every single one of them is staring directly into the camera makes it kind of off-putting. This was obviously taken with the flash on, so it's a deer in headlights kind of situation, but looking at this picture, I still have a bit of like a, oh god, like, what do you want from me kind of feeling. Next on the list, we have the ghost. So take a look at this image. What do you see? Well, obviously there is, once again, another deer in the foreground looking up at something. But just what the hell is that in the background? It's hard to make out exactly what this odd shape is. To me, it looks like a naked Voldemort howling at the moon. It looks ghostly, too, only the bust is fully formed. The rest of it looks like it fades out, almost like mist. Maybe there's a pond behind the deer, and that's what this thing is, like, maybe submerged in? It's hard to tell, but this is kind of a freaky image. A pale, bald ghost screaming in pain behind a confused deer. I can make out what looks to be a brow ridge, a wide open mouth. Whatever it is, it looks like to have maybe a gaunt, almost skeletal face. This would actually make for a perfect like black metal album cover. Just throw some overly complex, indistinguishable text on there and you're good. Next up, we have the clown. These mysterious images have been floating around online since at least 2010. They could even have been taken before. No one is exactly sure. We're not even 100% sure where the trail cam photos were taken, so this could very well be a hoax. But if it isn't, and someone's trail cam just happened to snap a couple pictures of some mysterious man in a clown costume roaming around in the forest, then that makes these images very nightmarish. The image was used in a news story about the string of weird clown sightings that happened in the summer of 2016. Anyone remember that? But it was discovered that the image was actually uploaded to the Field and Stream Facebook page in 2010, a well-known hunting and fishing page. So whoever this was, they were donning their clown outfit and heading out to the forest long before that magical clown-crazed summer of 2016 that we all miss. Some say he was just joking around. Godswallop, in my opinion. Nope, I reckon he's still out there, clowning around and carrying on. But one thing's absolutely certain. Something about this image stumped the internet. That's why it's famous. That's why nobody knows his name. He's the clown who hid. Number 3, we have the werewolf. In May of 2022, at the Amarillo Zoo in Texas, one of the cameras picked up this creature at around 1:30 in the morning. Now, whatever this thing is, it was walking around outside of the zoo, so it wasn't likely to be one of their animals unless something escaped. And if it is an escaped animal, well, what exactly is it? Like a lemur wearing a lion mask? It seems to be walking on its hind legs, so unless the camera just happened to snap a four-legged creature while it stood upright for a brief moment, it's hard to imagine this being a wolf or a dog. Speaking of wolves though, a lot of folks have been comparing this to maybe a werewolf, and I can definitely see that. It looks to be pointy ears, it's got a mane of fur on its back. I also think it looks maybe a bit alien, but again, let us know what you think down below. I think if we all put our heads together, we can crack this case. Coming in at second place, we have another ghost. This image was captured in Whiteman Hill in Wayland, New York, and was shared by Kelly Morgan, who found the image on her brother's trail cam. It depicts some sort of ghostly figure roaming around in front of the camera. There's some sort of beauty in this image a little bit. The figure looks like it's glowing a little bit. Morgan made a statement saying that her grandmother told her a story about 3 men who took the life of a 17-year-old on her wedding day in 1882. Apparently the girl was buried in a cemetery nearby. So could this image be the tortured soul of that bride wandering through the woods in the dead of night, or is it just a hoax? And finally, we have the rake. In this clip shared by TikTok user Cryptalker, we see a strange, lanky creature crawling through someone's backyard on all fours. It seems to resemble the famous rake internet phenomenon where the most famous creepy trail camera picture comes from. This one here, yeah, we've all seen that image, right? A gaunt, pale, spindly looking creature staring into the camera in the dead of the night. Well, this thing looks kind of like that. I'd say it could be someone just walking around on all fours, but whatever this thing is, it's incredibly thin, way too small to be human. All I know is I don't like this thing. It looks like an even longer, lankier, creepier version of Gollum. How many fantasy movie references did I make in that list? I think like 4. I don't know how Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings got in there, but it is what it is.